Wow. Hello. Yeah, okay. Hello everyone. Hello. Sorry. I was running a bit late. But today we're going to be working on some art stuff, coloring mostly. But hello, Eli. Just in time. You're learning how to draw, so I guess I'm having a master class today. Not really. I mean, it really depends on how you feel about it. I forgot to add the drawing screen to the actually, can I put on game? No, probably not. Let me just look for it. Okay, what is this? On. Yeah. Okay. I also forgot to make the thumbnail, which is why I was like trying to get everything done. You know, being a professional streamer is obviously very hard. You know. Here you go. So we have. Why is it doing that? Multiple windows. Am I right? Move this. Move! Oh no, I don't want that. I want this. Move to the center. Here we go. But yes, hello everybody. How are you all today? If you don't know who I am, my name is Munii Shoda. I'm a Space 100 from the stars. I may be a turbo shot, but guess what? I'm still gonna aim for your heart. And yes, we are playing. We're not playing a game. We're doing a stream. We're doing the stream of the art variety. I am. Well, this is not the art. But this is the thumbnail that I forgot to make. So let me just change the thumbnail on the here. And we're gonna change the thumbnail over here, I assume. Yes, this one is the correct one. Even though it's this drawing stream, it's okay. You get the idea. You get the idea because, like, at the end of the day, you get to see stuff. Now, are you a fan of digital circuses or circuses of the digital variety? Ah, yes, my favorite game, art. I know, right? There is like I would really love to play like art academies, like those Game Boy games. What are the Game Boy games? I don't remember. No, I want to dock this somewhere convenient. Dang it! Why did I do that? Okay. Anyways, oh no. Okay, I will do this later. We'll figure it out later. Okay, well, we'll fix this later. Don't worry about it. Anyways, you guys are probably wondering what are we working on, and probably on this side of this, on one other side of the stream, they're probably going like, "There's no music, Munii. There's nothing for me to listen to with my little ears." So don't worry, I will also add music. I believe I put it in audio. What did I put under? God dang. It's hard being a professional streamer. Background. That's what I probably put on, right? Oh, whoops. Wrong button. It's hard doing the vertical streaming, but I'm learning. I believe it's under media source. Background. Now you guys have music. Very important. Yes. But yes, today we are doing some art. It will be... I downloaded it, so I should have the file. Let me just get that open for you guys. This art. Yeah! Boom! Wow, I'm so good at art. I did this so fast, because I am the Munii Shoda's. Center this right here for that. Okay, cool. For anybody that does not know, for whatever reason, I am in an artist collective with Fiercest of the Bards. We do art together. We do art commissions under our VGent that we have together. Thanks to the lovely Marissa MJ Art. She gave us a VGen code, and that started off our journey in terms of doing some commission art. But when we're not doing any commissions, we are also working on some fan art that because this year in 2026, the Lord of our Savior, just kidding, we are trying to do more artist tables. So in order to do more artist tables, that means we have to work on something very important. We have to work on art. So Papa Kingler, is he a papa? He's man of the hour, Kingler. Bard, being the artist that he is, has a lot of creative juices in his brains, but doesn't mean he always has time to do all of them. So what we have now established is now that I will help him with coloring. And you're probably thinking, Munii, isn't coloring the easiest part? It's just like doing a coloring book. Kind of yes and no, right? When it comes to coloring, and there's an actual profession in it, right, to a certain extent, is that when it comes to coloring, sometimes it's nicer to just hand it off to someone. Hello, I love your avatar. Thank you. So, it's more common in careers like comic book industry, right? You have a lot of comic book artists who have colorists. You have people who do it professionally. And so we kind of trying to adopt that style a little bit by having me color some of his projects for him. We have slowly done a couple of projects like this where a bard does the line art or the sketch, and then I take over the next part, which is either the coloring and rendering. But sometimes I also have contributed by doing the sketch work and giving kind of the rough idea of what we want to do in the final piece. And then Bard will then line art it because Bard is a much better line artist than I am. So when it comes to coloring, it's a little bit more on the interchangeable side of things. But it's all Gucci. It's all Gucci, right? But anyways, who came up with the Digital Circus illustration for this here image right over here? And that would be the Bard of the Follow Moves. I have to go to the hospital for a couple of days. It has surgery on my lungs. That's my whole. I hope you're feeling better, Primal Games. So that's a yay. But you know what? It means that you're getting better, right? Hopefully that you feel better. You know, it's better to be getting it than not at all, in my opinion. But yeah, so to make sure that we are generally color accurate, we're gonna start by copying an image of the cast members that we have here. I don't mind if it's tiny as fuck because we're just here to for the palette. And we have it on top of the sun. That's all good. That's line art, that's a selection layer, and then we are good to go. Now, what I might do is I might separate the color based on each individual. I'm trying to debate each individual character, have a base color for them and kind of that, and have them all in one folder. It really depends on how you want to do the coloring, especially with the layering and stuff like that. We're gonna focus one character at a time because it's probably going to be simplest. Part of me feels if you want to do the small victories, what you do is you color the ones that are you kind of do the ones that are kind of the small individual kind of characters, you know, like that, or here. Do you guys remember these characters? These cameos? Yeah, I feel really good. That's great. Or we can start on the biggest character, Palmy, or we could do Jax. But, you know, chat, if you feel like you want me to color a very specific character, feel free to just shout it out, and I will try to get around to doing that particular character, and kind of like my opinions on maybe some of the characters that I feel about them, like Gummy Goo, Gummy God. For some reason I read Gummy God. Our favorite Aussie, you know, right there. Lots of like little Easter eggs in here. We don't really know necessarily 100% how we're going to be doing admittedly the background. That's more so like a little bit of Bard. Bard kind of wanted to do kind of a beach episode, but I was like, if you're doing the beach episode, why aren't they in their swimsuits, right? So now Bard's kind of rethinking it a little bit. I kind of thought they were going to be in a dungeon, honestly. And the reason why that's important to know is because that does change the lighting quite a bit. So I may do some rough shading depending on the direction of how the art goes, but it's a-okay. I think maybe I should start on like maybe doing like some of the color the background characters, because like they're small, and yeah, they're small in the background. Let me just look at Gummy Goo. Copy image. I mean, they weren't really associated for most of the beach episode anyway, so you could argue that later half of the episode. That's true. Do you guys have a particular favorite character, by the way? When it comes to Digital Circus? I know that for Bard and I, we got into it, like, I want to say around the Gummy Goo episode. And even then, I don't think Bard was all that, like, I don't think that Gummy Goo was that much of a, like, he was quite a popular, I know what I was gonna, not Gummy Goo, I think that Bard and I were not super invested in the series until a little bit later, admittedly. Let me just put this up here, so, like, reference. Put Gummy Goo up there as well for his color. I should put this in the reference folder. Color ref. And then put them both in there. And then move that key down here so then I can do all that. Listen, Jizz, if you want to find my sunken treasure chest, you'll have to do better than that. Yeah, you can, if you know what Bard is referring to, maybe, you understand who Bard's secret, not so secret favorite character is. Bard has a favorite character, and it's not the one you expect. It actually made us go down a rabbit hole of like some of the what was it, like the bad animations. Oh, that kind of gave it away, didn't it, for some people? It's the fucking fish, is it? Yes, the fish was Bard's favorite character. Favorite bit character. I think, like, if you could say bit character, that's probably be more accurate. Bard really, he's easily entertained, I think, sometimes. So, like, he'll pick, like, the silliest characters, and he's just like, I like that one. That was my favorite. Let me see. Here we go. For me, I'm not sure. Like, it's always really tricky when people ask me, like, who's my favorite character. because I don't want to say any character is like my particular favorite character, because like they have to like really like, I don't want to say stand out to me, right? It really just depends. Everything just heavily depends on like kind of like, sometimes for me it's like, I don't know, I'm very non-committal, I guess is the correct word for it. Like I'm kind of like, oh, I guess this character, like, it happened a lot when I was younger, you know, like when I was kind of like, oh, like I guess I like this character, and yeah, that's what happened with me for like, I think, Digimon. It happened for me for Digimon because we're like, I know that Saro, my sibling, right? They really liked Matt from Digimon, right? And then like there's me going like, oh, I guess I'll like TK then, you know, because you kind of like, you know, the sibling thing. We have to I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, but like it's like that little sibling thing where you're just kind of like, I want to like the things my older sibling likes, so that's why I will like this. Why is my letters in capital letters? Put that all in one folder. And then do that. And then have the beige. That. Like that. And then when you put them all together, it has the correct base colors. So it's right there. You can't like the same character. Exactly. Main cast, I love Kingler. I think that Kingler is like a fantastic character. I think he's definitely one of those like, he's one of those characters where like, how do I describe him? Like, there's more than meets the eye to him, but like, it's one of those things where it's like, I'm so kind of like invested to know what the rest of his story is. Are you a drawer? I am an illustrator, but the slide art was not done by me. This was actually done by my partner, Fiercest Bard. Fiercest Bard he is a art capybara. He primarily does a lot of anime girl art, but because we got into Digital Circus, we decided to work on this collaboration together. You really want someone to draw Shiragaraki from My Hero Academia? I see. Am I secretly Gangle? Am I Gangle? Or am I the other characters? What is his name? I forget what this guy's name is. I forget his name. Abel? Do we believe that like that Abel is like, is he gonna come back? Do we think he was a one-off character? Because technically Gummigoo wasn't, he was so popular that he was brought back, technically. Is there hope for Abel to come back? Is he everybody's favorite wooden man of the hour? Or did we all hate him? I think that's a really good question to ask, right? And then we do this. Wait, the Scratch linking. I love it. I love Disappearing Guy. That's true. Disappearing Guy is pretty fantastic. But what about what happens when you assume? You forgot about Ming. Ming is pretty great. He's everyone's favorite guy. He won the contest, didn't he? Hi, hello, Gianna. How are you? Let me just... I did not put anything on for me. Like, you guys are listening to music. I'm not listening to anything. So let me just put something on for me. Myself. Need to listen to something from the background. Okay. And then... Oh, shoot. Did that wrong run. Oh, this is what happens when, like, a tool isn't necessarily perfect, right? You gotta color those in. But it's a pretty good tool. Like, the one I'm using is, like, I can't remember what it's called. It's like this, ice cream head. A little bit. Hello! Kimbali. I love your vids. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Abel, Ming, and Disappearing Guy, the mannequin trio. I mean, yeah. Who's your favorite mannequin? There seems to be it's kind of funny how many different, like, mannequins there are. That are kind of in the show. I do feel that Abel is kind of feels like they have, like, a bigger role, but I'm not sure if it was I don't know if it was just gonna be a one-off. That's the mystery of Digital Circus, right? And how's the drawing going? Going pretty good. Again, this illustration was made by Fiercest Bard, so I don't want to take any claim for for his line work. I'm helping with the coloring. We'll see in a couple months. Honestly, that's true. That is kind of the sad thing about doing, like, indie projects, or watching indie shows and then really enjoying them, because you don't get further into the story until much later, right? Jax? Is Jax your favorite? What are you drawing? I'm coloring, a Digital Circus art print that we're working on. Yeah. Jax, Pommy. Is there if anybody, again, if you have a particularly favorite character, a particular favorite character, feel free to let me know. I think that, like, who do I have a soft spot for, honestly? Like, I think Kingler is, like, one of my favorite characters, honestly, because I do think, I like how, it's not that he's innocent, that wouldn't be the correct word for it. I just like his kind of, like, his demure, maybe? You're a fan? You're a fan of them all? Okay, is a girl dad. He really is. Do you draw the pic? I didn't draw it. This one is illustrated by my art partner, Fiercest Bard. I should probably write, you know what? I'm gonna write his name right here. I'm working on the coloring aspect, because, again, for people who don't know, oh, great. Of course it's going to be, like, a beige color. There we go. Line. Alright, bye. Fiercest Bard. The reason why some people, like, kind of do the kind of switch off is just so, like, the artist, or the main artist, or lead artist, they can work on multiple different projects and they don't have to kind of, like, do the tedious work. It's kind of like, it's more popularized in the comic industry, because, like, you know, how can they pump out so much stuff, right? There we go. Fiercest Bard. So that way people can like look up Bard right there. Bard Folamu. Yeah. So we are an art collective for anybody that is curious. We run a VGen called what was it? I forgot our own brand name. Cappy Buds. Yeah. Like your coloring, thank you. I only just started though, so I really appreciate the support. But yeah, let's see. We are coloring around. We don't need that anymore. And then we're gonna go over to here. Who should I focus on now? Cause like the background. Oh, maybe I should do that. Does anybody recognize what that looks like? I need to look up its coloring. There we go. Is that a gloink? Yeah, it's a gloink! Wow, Juice, you're like 1 for 1. When did you start your live stream? Today? That's a while ago. So, this one in particular is a yellow one, apparently. Copy image. Get the yellow highlight because it's a dark one, so we need to do that. Gloink. I don't know why Barjoy illustrated the gloink, honestly. Hello, do any of you like My Hero Academia? I used to like it. Okay, that's kind of mean to say. Not really, I guess. Like, I enjoyed it initially, and then I think I started to fizzle out of it because, I just stopped keeping up with it, I think, after a while. And it's not because it's a bad series. I wasn't as invested in it, I think, as, like, other people. I think I stopped around... When did I stop? When did I stop reading My Hero Academia? Oh, that's not as vibrant as I want it to be. Let me try a brighter yellow. Yeah, I think that's better, right? I gotta go now. Bye-bye, Kumbali. Because Glowing Queen is glorious and her children need to be appreciated. Totally not biased, huh? And we gotta also do this and then make his mouth red. Oh, I have to make sure I also fill in the colors properly. Should probably put this over here, maybe. Oh, no, on the bottom. Should be at the top of all of them. That's a very, like, Powerpuff Girl eyes for some reason in my mind. You kind of, like, did you get everything must be glowing? Is from the first episode? You know, maybe I just didn't pay attention to, like, the finer details, honestly. Let me see. But is there... I think, like, I didn't... Okay, so maybe I should go back to, like, talking about, like, I'm kind of jumping all over the place. So I'm trying to refocus on what kind of, like, thing about Digital Circus. Okay, so for Digital Circus, how did Bart and I kind of get into it? Because I didn't really talk about that much. I think, like, I started wanting to check it out when I saw people's obsession with Gummy Goo. I think it was actually around the time that I think the 3rd episode came out, and they had the fast food episode, and people were going like, oh my god, heartbreak, a little bit with people were kind of already heartbreaking at the disappearance of Gummy Goo, because I think they were hoping that he was going to be more of a, like, staying more long-standing character, and then they kind of took that away. But like that's kind of like the twist of the messed up twist of Digital Circus, isn't it? Ah, shit. No, that's not where I want to put it. Oh, I want everything to be on its own layer. Let's erase it. Well, I don't have to, but I'm going to. I think like that's the direction that Digital Circus is going on is like such a trip, and I'm really interested to see how the animators like end the series, because I think like it's definitely going to be something that I feel like people aren't going to expect, because like at the end of the day, like the series is like is not afraid to will break the hearts of their viewers in a sense, right? There's a lot of like twists and turns to it, and that's kind of the beauty of kind of like, you know, of them doing the things that they're doing in the show. But I'm not sure how. It makes me kind of wonder how the show's gonna end a little bit, like if what the plans for the ending is, because I'm pretty sure there is a plan in place ultimately. So I'll delete that one. So like for the base, and then who to work on next? Maybe Zubul, right? I also like the direction that, like, you know, like a lot of the characters kind of growing, like Zubul and Gangle are kind of like really finding themselves, and it like the ship seems to have sailed on the Gangle and the Zubul train, you know? And based on the book, I Have a Mouth and I Must Scream, which from people said it wasn't Sunshine to Rainbow, so I don't expect Digital Circus expect DADC to be either. I didn't know it was based on a book. That sounds like a really interesting book, honestly. I think Zubul's gonna be the hardest to color in the end, mostly because of all the different like elements that they have. Though I think I happened to like stumble upon one that Bard might have based it off of, because like Zubul changes like a lot, right? And over every episode, right? Let's see. We can do Gangle first, maybe. Ribbon. I can't spell ribbon apparently. No, I spelled it wrong again. Ribbon. Not exactly based on it, but more inspired. I used the wrong word. No worries. Like, I can see it being, like, inspired by something, and then, like, kind of, like, evolving it more into, like, into their own vision for the story. Oh, got it pretty good. It's also kind of tricky because, like, to figure out which part is which. Because, like, Bart has a vision in his head. Because it's drawing Digital Circus. My bad. I'm just so a shock. It's actually the line art is by Fiercest Bart. I'm just coloring it. But I think that he did a fantastic job drawing the characters. He tried to capture a lot of different, like, characters within this one illustration. This is probably the most characters he's drawn in one illustration, though. Again, for anybody that's kind of curious what's going to happen to this illustration, our goal is to make posters of this print, eventually. Because we're trying to do the Artist Alley stuff next year. Well, not next year, this year. I keep thinking like it's still December in my brain, but it's already been like it's already halfway through the month, isn't it? Does anybody still do that? They still think that it's like 2025? Because that's very much my brain at the moment. It's still Christmas. And then reset. I still want to think it's the new year, so say, yeah. But then, I think like it's kind of funny. People still don't want time to pass by that fast, and then for other reasons, people want 4 years to pass anyways. You know, for no reason, no particular reason. You know, I hope that everyone, even if you didn't make any New Year's resolutions, I hope that that if you did make any goals for 2026, that you accomplish some of it, you know? It's not about trying to get everything done. Your drawing is giving old school cartoon network. That's really cool. Thank you, thank you. This was the line work again, done by Fiercest Bart. I should probably have it somewhere. I'm just helping with the coloring. But I'll let them know that he gives off the old school cartoon network illustration. Personally, I always have a soft spot for that type of stuff. Let's see. Let's see. Trying to think. Who do I? Oh, the tier. Tier. Go over here. It's kind of hard because there's a pinkish tone to the highlight a little bit. But I'm going based on the 3D models, so hopefully it turns out pretty okay, you know? I'm gonna remove that so we can put the tier layer. Actually, you know what? No, their tiers are pretty solid, aren't they? I kind of feel I'm wondering if I should color the mask in here. It's more of a true blue in my opinion. You can get a little bit go a little bit with some artistic some artistic liberties with some colorings, but you just try to get in the same range. Because their mask, it does kind of feel like they have a red or a pinkish light shining on them for this. But I'm not sure if I'm also being influenced. But I think because this is a gray background, a very light gray background, that's what it looks like. The tears almost look like glass beads, yeah. So I'm wondering if I should have their color behind their mask. I might do that actually instead. Just in case I want to make it translucent a little bit. Let me color this like this. They make any difference? Guess not. Let's see. Just slightly. It made it a little bit lighter. We'll do that. Just in case, right? I'm back from yesterday. I finally got some rest. Good job, Static Drift. Hey, I just went across this. What's this for? An animated series, a comic book, a video game? It looks super dope. Thank you. This is for a poster that it's a fan art poster for Digital Circus. Again, line art by Fiercest Bard. Everyone should look up Fiercest Bard. They are an art capybara, and my partner in our art venture called Cappy Bloods. We are going to be selling this poster actually at Artist Alley. So and I'm helping out like doing some of the coloring job, because if I'm doing the coloring job, that means that Bard can focus on doing all the illustrations. You know what I mean? Like he can focus on doing more art, where I kind of help out with that, and then he does clean up for like how he wants to like to like, you know, the final touches, if that makes sense. But yeah, like it's a more common, again, like I was saying, I keep forgetting the rest of my story. But like how a lot of comic book artists kind of like adopt that kind of style, because, you know, when you have to pump out a bunch of stuff, it's not easy if only one artist does all the tasks. So that's why you try to like kind of, you have like the main artist focused on one particular job, right? And you don't like what was it? You don't have one artist do everything. Having people like spread out to do it, like it makes a little bit more of a factory, a little bit, like, right? You're all pumping like something, and like you don't have to worry too much about not finishing things and losing interest over stuff. You know what I mean? Hey, I started to do VTuber streams on Twitch. Oh, already? Wow, that's really fast. How do I get my girlfriend to stop biting me? Allied Mastered Computer, you don't. There's no way to get people to stop biting. I chomp. No. You put lemon. I think you put like something sour on your arm. I don't know. I never really had that issue, honestly. Sounds like a skill issue, bro. I think of it like when Pet does a love bite. Yeah, like, it's kind of like when Coffee kept biting me, like, because he was a puppy, right? So he was teething. Coffee would nom on me quite a bit. And actually, you know what? Like, what was it? Soju, my other dog, he didn't really bite me that much when he was a puppy. I did find their baby teeth, which was really cute. I saved some of their puppy teeth, because like I was just like, oh, what's that little thing on the ground? And it was their baby teeth. It was so cute, so cute. I want to show you my model so bad. It's okay. I know that, like, I have a Discord that, like, I always try to encourage people, if they want to share their art, feel free to share it there. I'm not sure if I have my Discord over on YouTube, but I have a Discord. I just googled Digital Circus and I never heard of it before, but definitely gonna check it out. It looks like this drawing. Can't wait to see some color on it. Thank you. I will say this. When it comes to Digital Circus, I will say this. If you do not like, how do I describe it? If you're not prepared for, it's like more of an adult cartoon, I would say. It doesn't do anything like super like scandalous, but like it does have like adult themes. A lot of kind of like trippy. It's not appropriate for small children, I would say. Like older teens, probably gonna be fine watching it. Like there's no and it's not because like, oh, they occasionally swear every so often. No. It's like there's a bit of a trippiness to it, some darkness to it. I would not be like, I wouldn't. I guess you could show it to like small children if they don't understand, but I would not recommend it because of the dark elements of it. But yeah, like definitely a great and fantastic show, especially if you like more like thought, if you want more like shows that give you make you like think a lot, if that makes sense, right? It's a heavy mystery element to it, right? I take it from me, lemons won't work. It flavors you. How do you stop somebody from biting you? You can't put sugar, you can't put salt. That's what I thought, like sour things might, but they like sourness, that it might not work out, right? But I'll join it. My girlfriend loves sour stuff, same as me, so sour stuff on my arms doesn't work. It's not inappropriate, but the demographic is adults and older teens. Yeah, exactly, right? Like, it's not like you can't watch it with young children. It's just probably not the preference, you know? Like, it's one of those kind of, like, cartoons. It's like Munii Shoda Madoka, right? And, like, it's, like, that show had a very, like, oh, like, this is perfect for small children. And then, it traumatized many a children. So, like, it's kind of, like, not that bad, but, like, kind of along the lines of that, you know what I mean? Yeah. Do I have any tips? For that, eat lots of fiber. I'm not a doctor. Seek a doctor. If you have any stummy aches, always, eat. It's just eat more fiber. That's the only advice I can ever give. Drink prune juice. Right? Like, that's what it is? And don't ask VTubers for medical help unless they're a doctor. And there's like only like what? How many? Like 2, 3 known VTuber doctors out there? If that makes sense. Have you watched The Night Gospel? It's Digital Circus like? I haven't. Midnight Gospel. Said he want to eat your hair. Does my hair look nommable? Nommable? What's Midnight Gospel? Oh, I've heard of that. I saw it on, I keep seeing images that I haven't watched Midnight Gospel. Honestly, I will be completely, transparent. I'm really bad about watching stuff. Rex is here and still someone's like, oh, I hope you feel better, Rex. I really hope you do. I don't think people that have medical degrees usually have time to be VTubers. Again, there's only like 3 that I know of, but one of them I think is actually a nurse. There are 2 people who are doctors. One, I can't remember. She's a plague doctor. Like, that's her theme for her VTuber. And the other one is like he's a doctor VTuber and he's an actual doctor. So, and they actually do have medical degrees. Not that it really matters what people do kind of like on their hobby. Like, there's some doctors who, yeah, 100%, they don't have time to do content creation, but there's some people who they really like doing the creative side of things. Like, I think like one of the animation YouTubers, Amazing, like, he's an actual doctor, I think, right? Like, he has his own doctorate and he was a doctor for a year. I'm a neurosurgeon, so technically I'm one. Ah, I see. That's really cool. But I don't think so, though. Yeah, she was a nurse. If you're thinking about pastrami, she was a nurse. No, I'm thinking of, like, a different one. There's a lot of people in the medical field. Like, Amazing does, he was a doctor. Or is a doctor, rather. But he wasn't, I think, like, I watched his video that he wasn't super happy doing his practice for a while. Well, not practice, like, he started animating while in school, and then, like, it was just, like, a side passion, and then doing that on top of going to medical school was a lot, so he finished, and then he did, I think, his medical practice for a little bit, and then he came back to do YouTube again, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong. I watched primarily, like, Jaden Animations and The Odd Ones Out, and they both dropped out of school. I think both of them dropped out of school. people might have to correct me on that.
Drink
Thank
water,
you for
you
the reminder to
dehydrated
hydrate.
bitch.
Hello, country shaped. It's been a while. Hope you're good. But yeah, like, it's tricky, you know, balancing content creation and stuff. But to answer the question, is Digital Circus like a darker Happy Tree Friends? No, it's not Happy Tree Friends. Happy Tree Friends is very different. Like, how would I describe Happy Tree Friends? You know, like how Happy Tree Friends is like, it's like the only I don't want to say that like Happy Tree Friends isn't entertaining itself, but it's very like it's like mid 2000s kind of like the only thing that's kind of like, if you think about it from like a writing standpoint, it's funny, but funny in the sense of like it's because of the shock factor, not so much the actual writing of the skits, you know what I mean? Whereas Digital Circus, it's very well written, you know what I mean? Like it's not like the shock factor isn't that it's bloody, it's the factor, it's kind of, it just messes with your brain in that sense, right? It's always interesting to learn that YouTubers and influencers could have been something else, like Markiplier and Link from Good Mythical Morning both have engineering degrees. I think also like Connor from CDog VA, he also has an engineering degree, doesn't he? Oh god, I've seen more gore. I've seen enough gore from Happy Tree Friends. Yeah, Happy Tree Friends is like, it's like such a memory lane type of thing. My sister used to want to watch it, just a show later. I wouldn't, you could, but I wouldn't recommend it, honestly. It's like, the thing is, okay, I'm not sure if anybody else has had a plague doctor. Random thoughts, did they actually live through that, or did they die from the infection too? I think, like, it really depends. Like, in terms of the plague doctor, I think it's like more of the design aesthetic nowadays, right? I think like they're all like, I think it's really cool. Okay, we're all over the place. We're all over the place. My brain is, at least. Let's see. In terms of the people who are doctors who are also content creators, or any profession that are also content creators, damn, they have so much talent. How can you be entertaining and also incredibly intelligent? I have one brain cell. How you're able to like get a medical degree on top of being like really cool and being a doctor, dang, man, I wish I had the intelligence to do that, you know? But my brain is all like media stuff, so like, and even then I'm not even an expert in media, you know what I mean? I don't really watch Connor, but like those goofy guys on YouTube graduate with degrees, something decided I'm going to be funny on the internet said yes. I skipped class to watch your streams. You should not skip class to watch my streams. Oh yeah, I like skipping classes just watching you. No. You should never skip classes to watch me stream, because that's probably... I'm just brain rot. This is also coming from someone who's been to school twice. I went to school, so I have 2 undergrads now. That should probably give some people an idea that I am not exactly a youngin'. Watching movie streams during class. That's... No, I'm unhealthy. No. Everyone should definitely go to school. I think if you can, right? I have learned. Okay, I know I'm not drawing, or like coloring rather. I should be working. I'm getting paid. My sponsor depends on me to work. No, he doesn't. But like, I will say this. When it comes to getting an education and stuff like that, right? It's tough out there, right? Hey, you're an artist, strong while talking, bouncing life, you're doing amazing. I'm barely doing it. You got 2 undergrads before 25. Wow, buddy. Wow, yeah, I got 2 undergrads before 25. I met doctors with 1 brain cell. Well, don't listen to the hype. Please, doctor, so the drip says it all. Like, I went back to school after a certain amount of time. And man, that's all I can really say. Because like going back to school is such a trip, especially if you're, again, this is kind of like saying how old I am a little bit. If you go back to school, sometimes you have the awesome opportunity to go to school with people a whole generation after you. And you really get to see like a new perspective of how generations look, or you really see a reflection of how you used to be when you were their age, if that makes sense. Yeah, that's not revealing too much about myself. When I first did my first undergrad, right? Like, what's an example of it? Like what I would do a lot is that, like, I would procrastinate a lot. Like, that's common for, I think. And then when you get into the workplace, what typically happens is that you kind of, like, discover, oh, shoot, I can't procrastinate. I have to do stuff, right? Like, you can't, like, why are you leaving this to the last minute? Because you start to develop, like, a work habit, which is good, right? You should be developing certain work habits when you become an adult, right? Certain things should not be put off, because if you procrastinate too much, then you miss deadlines or you get in trouble with your boss and stuff like that, right? So I will say that I would say working for a couple years did actually improve my work habits and flow. Because yeah, and then also, like, when you go to work, or when you work as well, like, your whole perspective on, like, interacting with different people really does change too, right? You're kind of forced to learn that, you know, you're not going to see eye to eye with a lot of people, and how do you work through that? Because, like, I know, like, I'm not saying that, like, everybody in university is closed-minded or anything, but, like, there's a certain, like, level of naivete, I guess, that I've experienced with a lot of my classmates, and, like, you know, that's something that I've also experienced too when I was younger. There's a lot of things, like, I thought the world worked one way, but then since getting out of school the first time, I learned very quickly that my understanding of the world was not how it was, right? So, going back to school and kind of seeing kind of like a version of myself that I used to be was quite interesting a little bit, you know? I'm not sure if anybody else kind of really experiences that, but that's kind of like how I felt, at least. To be fair, I don't know how you're multitasking like this. I'd be cussing out chat and asking anyone to be quiet. I appreciate the work I've been watching this. Thank you, Starship Blur. Really appreciate it. Hey, I grown up too. I used to think people would retire by 25, yada yada. I learned to give myself a grace period from there, and it seems like you're doing your best. Yeah, hello, Polystar. Yeah. I will say this. Going back to school did burn me out, though. I may seem like I am a well-functioning adult of some capacity. Oh, shit. That's not what I want to do. I seem like I'm a well-functioning adult. But, in reality, you know, I got really burnt out, and I'm gonna fully admit, that, like, you know, I went to school for media. I went to school for media almost twice, actually. When I first went to school, I went into I can say the program because it no longer exists. That's how popular it was. It was called Interactive Social Media Arts. Yep, that's right. I had a social media degree, sort of? Question mark? you could tell that it was so popular that it still exists in my program. And like, I love your character design. I did not design it, actually. My mama, my VTuber model was designed by my mama, Lolo. She's a very talented artist. I saw her design and I was like, I want that design. I want to do a flip. I feel like you're asking for stuff that should be on Twitch. I wish I could design. I've tried designing, actually, a 2.0 multiple times, for this model in particular, but I never quite, like, stuck the design. But yeah. Non-functional adults are like myth unicorns. I know, right? Like, I will say this. I'm very lucky that I have a partner who understands. Like, again, Bard is... Fiercest Bard is my partner. And he is... We met through streaming, actually. Like, for anybody who doesn't know that lore, like, you're welcome to the channel, first of all. But one of my favorite lores about me is that I actually, one of my lores is that I actually, met my partner through doing, Twitch a little bit. And, it was... I don't recommend people getting to relationships online, because sometimes there's a lot of heartbreak, I think, for a lot of people out there when it comes to these kind of things. But for Bard and I, it was a very chance encounter, and almost 3 years later now, like, since meeting each other, like, here we are. We're doing art collective, where he's supporting me in being a content creator, at least for this moment of time, until, like, I kind of recharge a little bit more. And then, hopefully I become a more, functioning adult. Let's see. My sister is listening to Defy Gravity full volume. Help my ears. But it's such a good song! You can defy gravity. I actually never watched, I've never watched Wicked. I kind of want to. Let's see. You think I'm a functioning adult? Mumbles and Circus. Scores the best. The mask works. I started a diploma from a school that doesn't even exist anymore. I hear ya. Yeah. Like, I finished that degree, and, it was... Okay, do you want to know how I found out that, like, my degree doesn't exist anymore? This is the messed up part. Like... I was, like, visiting one of my coworkers, and because she was having, like, a barbecue, and she was living in, like, you know, a shared home with, like, other, like, students, and they happened to be, like, going to that school that I used to attend. Like, that was it was a fun coincidence, and I'm like, oh, shoot, you went to... insert art school here. So did I. And they're like, cool. Like, what major did you do? I did this major. And they stared at me and they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I did this major. And they're like, we had that? And I was like, oh no. Yeah. That's how I found out my major was discontinued. Granted, it was probably one of the not as, like, there's probably like 6 people in my major, to be honest, so I'm not surprised that they kind of discontinued it. I'm not even sure how they got that, like, they had so little people, but because my thought process of it was probably what happened was no one knew what the fuck they were doing in that major, which is true. Like, do you really, like, how much do you really know from the name Interactive Social Media Arts? Yes, chat. Like, do you know when you hear the name Interactive Social Media Arts, you can probably try to guess what it was about, because half of the time people didn't know what it was. It just had a very long name, short for ISMA. What is my major? Good question. Okay, Defying Gravity is a good song, but which version of Defying Gravity? The film or the Broadway version? What if it's the Glee version? You guys remember Glee? Were you a Gleek growing up? Anyone here a Gleek? I was not. I had a friend who was a huge Gleek, though. Oh my gosh. Let's see, put that all together. Then let's do Kingler next. Kingler. You learn how to be Yuzma from Emperor's New Groove. Man, I wished. Yuzma is like, okay, again, interactive social media art. Basically, it was so general where it's like, Yuzma is like, or, man, I haven't seen Yuzma in such a long time. You're trying to say Kingler when it's like Pokemon and not Kinger. Is it King? It's Kinger. I'm thinking Pokemon, aren't I? Kingler versus Kinger. Like, okay, so what I did in my major, because you're probably going like, oh, maybe it's social media focused. It kind of is. And then you're like, oh, what if it's like, interactive art? It sort of is. What if it's like, it was a lot of things, basically. Like, it was like anything that was under the scope of interact. Isn't that a lot of things? Yes. And that was exactly the problem. The major kind of, it's not that it lacked direction, it lacked, like, I think a clear branding, you know what I mean? And so you don't really know, like, what's going on in the major. It's not gonna last very long, you know what I mean? And even, like, the head of the department, like, because I was just like, yeah, I think, like, a major issue with our major is people don't know what we're doing. And she's like, well, what do you think we're doing? I'm just going like, aren't you the head of our major? Shouldn't you tell me? Right? So, anyways, I graduated with that. I almost, you know what I should have done? I should have graduated with a film degree. Because that's what I was considering. I considered switching to getting a film degree because after a certain point, I was kind of wondering if my major was worth sticking to, but by then it was kind of too late because I was in my final fucking year of university, and it was 4 years of festival. You spend like 3 years in your major, and then like, because the first year is foundations. Like, foundation is like everyone has to do it, and then you specialize, right? I kind of wanted to do illustration, but I didn't really build a portfolio to do illustration, so I didn't think I was going to get in because everybody wanted to be do illustration, right? So I decided, like, I was like, oh, this other major seems really interesting. I'll go into that. Big mistake. I should have gone into film. Because film probably would have been a little bit more aligned to what I want to do. Anyways, yeah, that's me looking at it. I was never a Gleek, but I've had a friend who's absolutely a proud one. She had albums on her Spotify on regular rotation. I wish I had the whimsy of a Gleek. I should get everything in a church coat. Yeah. It was like, man, you know? I mean, I have some good memories, but also, like, when I think about my degree, like, did it really do much for me in the end? Probably not, honestly. I ended up, some of the things, man, am I doing like a Munii lore drop about my educational background? Some of the things that I've done since using my degree is I got a certificate in teaching English as a second language, as a foreign language rather, which led me to teach in Korea. for 2 years, and that's how I got. And it led me to get my dog. So like, you know, but you know, in order to get that job in Korea, you know what I had to do, chat? I had to get like reference letters, and one of them had to be from a teacher. And you know what? Even though the head of department did not know what the fuck she was doing half the time, she gave me a reference letter. She gave me the reference letter to teach overseas in Korea. So it worked out in the end, because there were 2 teachers I contacted. The head of my department and this other teacher that I actually really enjoyed his classes. The other guy did not give me any letters. And for that, my head of my department, or the old head of my department, I had to go to her house to like go pick up the letter. Luckily, it wasn't that hard to get to, but like still, like she did me a solid. So you know what? She gets a thumbs up in my opinion. So like, you know, like people surprise you in various different ways in terms of how life comes up. So, you know, even though like her courses were kind of BS, at least she could write a good reference letter, you know. And like yeah, so I have a certificate in teaching English as a foreign language. Technically, I don't know. Apparently I was good, qualified to do that. Though I will say this, for anybody that wants to teach English overseas, like just by chance, right? Teaching English can be a very fun career. But make sure, I don't know how to phrase it. If you're going to teach overseas, actually try to do it right. Like, don't use... I know that a lot of people do, or back then at least, I think it still happens nowadays, is like the whole... Like, they use teaching overseas as kind of like their way to... like, as an easy job to do when they are traveling... Oh no. Okay, I'm gonna remove that. They use it as like as kind of like like this is like my hub I'm gonna have, and then like I'll come like I will work overseas by doing like this teaching job, and it'll be super easy. And it can work, but like it's a lot harder than people realize. Especially, really, it depends on kind of like what age group you're teaching. I taught middle schoolers for 2 years, and I've learned many things. Like, I made a lot of mistakes, and I've learned strategies on how to teach and communicate with people who don't really understand you half the time. And I've had some good days and had some bad days. But I will say this: if you aren't dedicated to teaching at some capacity, like having some interest in education, don't do it. Honestly, don't do it. Like, you know, like, I feel like, you know, it's not as easy of a job as people think it is, if that makes sense. It's very challenging, and there's a lot of things that that, because you're dealing with kids at the end of the day, right? If you're not somewhat invested in teaching, I don't think it's worth your time. If that makes sense. I think you should, like, because there are people who do get rejected, because there's a lot of people who do want to go overseas to teach, or not because like they're like, I want to be an educator, blah blah blah. There's some people who are like that, right? But I feel like you have to have some level of passion, just a minimal level of passion, before going overseas to teach, because you're gonna have a miserable time, because you're gonna have coworkers who sometimes don't even help you, and sometimes you have to live in like some of the most remote areas, like, especially if like you have to look at like the competition for, like, say Tokyo or like Seoul or like any of the major like cities, they're gonna have such a large amount of people who are gonna apply to go to those cities. So if you live in like the middle of nowhere, you have to have that passion, because otherwise you're just gonna be like depressed half the time. You know what I mean? Me personally, I'd be clapping Bigfoot with no hands. I have Bigfoot. Wow. How can you make him clap? But yeah, like, hello there, Megatron. Welcome in, Megatron. How are you? Are you trying to find a strategy to defeat the Autobots? But yeah, education is interesting, especially coming from a former English teacher. I'm looking for Optimus Prime. Damn. How's that search going for you? I will say, Megatron, I never watched the original 1980s movie. Was it 1980s when it was released? Until recently. I will say, damn, I'm so sorry that they just threw you out of a spaceship. They weren't quite as loyal as they thought they were going to be. I don't know. Like, that movie was a trip and a half when I watched part of it. I didn't watch all of it. Why was I watching part of that movie when Megatron was getting thrown out of a spaceship? That's a good question. You're gonna have to ask Bard that. I do remember just saying, like, I've not seen G1, but I have seen TFP. Ah, I see. I wish I understood what that meant. I might have to ask Bard that, because Bard is a huge Transformers fan. He grew up on he collects all the Transformers. And well, he doesn't collect all the he collects a bunch of them. He had the opportunity actually to get a version of Megatron in his original transformation. And he was trying to explain to me why Megatron was not a tank. And how he used to be a gun. And I was like, why? Why was he a gun originally? And he's just like, because guns were cool back then. And I'm just going like, Jesus. You need to watch G1 eventually? I think so. I never really understood that, but like, you know, I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys, my introduction to Transformers was probably more along the lines of Beasties. Like, I think like I kind of knew of Transformers, but because of my age group, and again, this is probably sharing, like, giving you guys hints as to the rough age I am. I used to watch Beasties, and that was my that's how I was introduced to Transformers. So when like people like when we saw the car Transformers, I was just like, hey, that character has the same name as that gorilla. Yeah. And I'm like, where's Rat Trap and all the other characters? Oh, only Megatron's here? Like, why are they not dinosaurs anymore? or tarantulas or bugs, right? Yeah, I was introduced to Michael Bay Transformers movie. It will sound dumb, but I became a fan. From a YouTube short. No, that's not dumb at all. Like, you know, I think YouTube shorts, like, if people are kind of curious about, like, I think because, like, okay, going back to kind of content creation, stuff like that. Is it worth it to, like, do shorts and stuff like that? It is. It always is. Because you always get introduced, like, clips are great ways to kind of, like, be introduced to, like, content creators, because not everyone wants to sit through an entire stream. And that's understandable. Because sometimes, like, you know, sometimes people go boring and you have things to do. But, shorts are great, like, little testers and teasers for, like, stuff like that. What made you choose my VTuber character in particular? She had certain features that I really liked about her. Yeah. It's not because I'm secretly really into certain aspects of a character's design. I just really respectfully looked at the design and I was like, oh yeah, that she looks like a respectable individual. Yeah. I should be using my toggles more often. Oh, not that one. I need to go. Oh no, not that. No, I honestly really like the design, and I kind of hummed and hawed about it, and I was like, oh, it'd be so cool if I could be this character, and I did. I bought her, and the art was not a waste of money, but it cost me a pretty penny. I don't recommend it for anybody starting out as VTuber. Also, thank you for the reminder to hydrate.
Make sure you stretch out.
Drink water, you
and stretch out.
bitch.
But yeah, like, for anybody that wants to become a VTuber, I always recommend this. Please, please, please use a customizable model, or like use a free PNG, or even just doodle something real simple. Because, like, I don't think you should ever invest as much as I did when you're first starting out, because you need to know if you even like streaming. I think that's the biggest thing I would ever recommend to anybody who wants to be a VTuber. Like, first see if you even like streaming, because there's so many streamers that like pay for the most expensive model, have fantastic art, fantastic rigging, have the best of the best, and they stop streaming after like a year or two, and that's really sad. And because like that's so much money that you wasted overall. And like, it really sucks to see some people like sell their models a little bit, because like that model was made for you. Like, I have nothing against with people trying to get their money back, but it's kind of like, I guess it's like, it's a little weird to me sometimes to think about. Like, I don't think I'll ever sell the Munii model, if anybody was kind of curious about that, because like, it's like selling a bit, like, a part of me and my history a little bit. Like, maybe one day I want to do a 2.0, but like, you know, it would be odd, you know, because you guys also know me as this. Like, this is what you know me for, right? So it's kind of like, it'd be kind of weird for me, at least for me, my perspective. But everyone's a bit different. Let's see. Well, shorts are a sample of content one person makes. Exactly, yeah. Well, G1 Megatron was a gun, then he became a bigger gun. If you don't like the short, you might not like the long form content. Yeah, exactly. When it comes to like talking about like content creation and stuff like that, like, I think that more people should take a chance with like clips and doing shorts. Like, yeah, I'm doing an experimentation with vertical streaming, and I will say, vertical streaming chatters are way more unhinged than all my vertical streaming, mostly because of this, right? And this is like how I've kind of observed it as someone who has been doing quite a bit. I agree with you. Yeah, I think it's because like when it comes to horizontal streaming, right, when you're seeing like the full image and everything, it's a little bit for some reason, I guess for some people it feels a little bit more formal, right? Whereas like for the horizontal streamers, it's kind of like people just like can randomly stumble upon you while they are roaming around on their shorts feed. So you get all like the people with short attention spans, and they're just kind of like flipping through. Ah, random anime woman, huh? I'm gonna troll her for a bit, you know? So that's why you get a couple of like unhinged comments, or you get a couple of people just saying hi and then leaving, or leaving a like. And you know, it's both good and bad, right? Because you get the positive aspect of it, because there's better discoverability, right? In the sense of people will just randomly just appear here, right? And then on the other side of things, you get a lot more trolls. So in my opinion, for anybody that's thinking about streaming, and have debated about doing vertical streaming, I will say it's sort of worth it. It really just depends. It really depends, right? Now, if you are, now, I would recommend it to anybody to start it immediately? Probably not. I probably would just say, I would probably say start with, like, you know, start on one platform, whether it is, YouTube horizontal or Twitch horizontal, right? Just get your bearings. Get your bearings first before you even start vertical streaming. I do think vertical streaming is a whole nother beast, so don't like kind of drop yourself off in the deep end, especially if you're not used to handling trolls, I want to say. Yeah. Or you're not used to like people saying like various comments, I want to say, because like I've been doing this for 4 years, right? I have seen my share of comments I would rather not want to deal with, you know what I mean? But I'm also not so thin-skinned that it will bother me, or like it will make I will remember for the rest of the day. I will notice certain comments, right? But I won't like be like, oh man, I'm gonna wake up in a cold sweat going like, oh my god, right? But like you have to develop that thicker skin, especially when it comes to content creation. That's at least my opinion as someone who's been doing it for 4 years now. I agree with you. Yeah, cool. Munii art of threadness. Thank you. So, and that's the main reason why I find streaming just by scrolling. Exactly. Yeah, you find some really cool people. I saw some other people, like, how they do their streams, and, like, it is very much similar to TikTok, and, in that aspect. Like, you know, like, there is that competition between TikTok and YouTube, I would say. I have tried to do streams with TikTok. I think that was too much. That was way too much for my computer. I really had to, focus on, like, one or the other, right? So that's why, TikTok is kind of out of the question at the moment. I do find though that I get more traction if people want to know, kind of like curious about stats too as well. I have been getting a lot more views on vertical than I have been horizontal, surprisingly, right? I guess because it's like people just randomly stumbling across my videos, it counts, as opposed to, I guess, like, it's also the mindset, right? Like, there's way more commitment to stay on a horizontal video than just randomly scrolling upon it, right? You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you're trying to get the attention of people. Yeah. Got to go. No worries, Megatron. Thank you for stopping by, and I really appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. But yeah, like, that's my thoughts on content creation, at least. Like, it's very it's interesting, right? But everything is always going to be an experiment, right? At the end of the day, you have to be willing to experiment to a certain extent, because if you're not willing to experiment with your content, then you kind of like risk, I won't say being forgotten, but you risk, how do I describe it? Like, there was a person that I briefly dated who was a content creator. You're amazing, wonderful, blessing, and I want nothing but your best. Thank you, Pumpkin. I really appreciate it. But you are all a blessing. Don't you forget it. But yeah, there was a person that I briefly dated who was also a content creator. And this was before Bard. They fell into the trap of okay, so how do I express it? When you start streaming, for anybody that wants to stream, pick a niche. Pick something that you're really passionate about and stick to it. That is something to start with, right? You can be And then what I would say is that once you find something that brings the most views, like the biggest boost to your channel, dedicate a lot to it for a bit, right? And then eventually pivot off of that. Pivot off of that and find something new, because doing the same thing all the time, depending on the material, if there's nothing that changes, it gets stale, right? So for example, if you got popular off of like something like, we'll just say Nikkei, right? Like, let's say you got popular off of Nikkei. Okay, you have to eventually figure out a way to pivot if there was ever a day where Nikkei no longer becomes popular, right? So that's kind of the strategy you need to kind of like figure out. Yeah. Hi, Game Boy Max. I love the digital circus art. Thank you. I will just redirect you to the true mastermind behind the art by Fiercest Bar right here. He did the line art, and I'm coloring it for him to make it faster for his workflow. But yeah, like that's my general advice when it comes to a lot of these things. I know my brain is all over the place talking about content creation and stuff like that. But I hope that even if I hope that my advice, if for anybody was looking for excuse me, unsolicited advice rather. Oh god. I've been getting a cold lately. If anybody was looking for like unsolicited content creation advice based on someone who has been doing it for quite some time, that's my advice generally. It's like do it for a while. Use a cheap model if you can. If you really like it, then invest in a nicer model if you really want to, like a personal model. And then yeah. And like get comfortable with awkward comments. Thank you for the blessings. I really appreciate it. I think like for me personally, if people were to ask me like, Munii, if you had to quit today, how would you feel about streaming, or like your stream, how I feel about my streaming, right? And this is not to say I'm gonna quit today. I would say to you that, like, I've learned so much about, I just learned so much, right? I think that it has prepared me for a lot of things. There's a lot of experiences that I have that like other people aren't gonna experience, especially being a VTuber versus like a webcam streamer, I would say. I've been very lucky to meet my partner through streaming, because not everybody does that or is able to meet their better half through streaming. You can meet a better half through streaming, and many people have, right? But I think I'm very lucky that not only have I met a better half that understands my streaming, but also is supportive of my streaming, because that's also another thing that I think a lot of people, when it comes to content creation at least, like you need to have in order to at least for me to live my lifestyle, right? Like if Bard was not supportive of my streaming, in terms of the capacity that I'm doing it at, that's keyword being, then I think that, it's not that I would give up streaming, obviously, but it would change how often I would be streaming, or like kind of like my other decisions that I have, right? Because ultimately I, as a partner, need to also respect that, he also has a right to be kind of like, hey, Munii, we can't afford for you to be a full-time streamer. Can you like maybe cut it down to like this instead? Which is fair for him to ask at the end of the day, right? Because streaming is a very privileged occupation. you shouldn't like you shouldn't believe that you are you can what's the word I'm looking for? You shouldn't go into streaming thinking that you're going to automatically make a bunch of money and like do all these cool things, right? Like you could, but it takes a lot of time and effort, and unfortunately sometimes that day may never come. I think that's something that a lot of people need to think about when they are deciding to invest a lot of time into content creation, because it is a very like, how I want to phrase it is, it's kind of like a thankless job to a certain extent, because like it really is like a, like you do this, like you could do this every single day and barely have a viewer, because it's so competitive, first of all, and also like it's kind of like you need to be kind of prepared for like the disappointment that maybe you may not make it as a content creator. What's your PC specs? That's a good question. I don't know. I used to know my PC specs and then I got upgraded. I kind of stream, but honestly just for fun because my friends do it too. Yeah, like definitely do streaming if you want to do it for fun. Don't do streaming as a I see like really cool people like who does streaming full time? Cool person like we'll say pre-built. It's not a pre-built, it's mine's a custom. That's why I don't know it. Indeed, keeping also positive as all, yeah. Like not many people can do streaming full time, I want to say, because it's not because like people don't want to do it. It's because it's 100% like you have to be, there's some aspects of like you have to be lucky, and then there's the other aspects of like you have to just have the charisma. And even I don't think I have the same charisma as some of like the biggest entertainers. And even then, some people don't even do streaming full time, even though they could easily do streaming full time. Because like at the end of the day, in this economy, really, like, can you really afford to be a content creator like full time? And like, it will never fail you. You know what I mean? Because like streaming and entertainment can be so turbulent. It's not like a safe career path for a lot of people, right? You have to really like, there's reasons why people do multiple investments, right? Like, or they invest in real estate, like they invest somewhere. Like that's what you really be doing with your money after you become like, if you make money off of streaming. I do art, but more traditional. I guess scared people will watch digital over traditional, you know? Though seriously, I think you have a charisma to stream. Thank you. I would say if you want to do traditional art, do it. There's such a like a loss in like, and this is ironic because I'm doing a digital art right now, but if you love painting, for example, you love watercolor painting, do it. Just do it. Don't worry about other people will watch, because that will be your number one downfall, if that makes sense. Like, stream because you genuinely want to show your talent, because you want to practice, because you want to get better. Don't stream because you're worried that people aren't going to watch you, because someone's going to watch you. And they're gonna be like, wow, this person is like, wow, Coffee Pod is so amazing at like painting. We need to watch her, or we need to have like those conversations about painting, or like the type of things that they're illustrating today, you know? Like never I will say this, it can get lonely when you're streaming, right? Because you're sitting there going like, hey, like, am I even that interesting? Like, even when I first started, I was kind of like, no one's gonna watch me play. What was I playing when I first started streaming? What was I doing when I first started streaming? Oh my god, I don't remember. That's how long ago. Oh god. What was the first game I streamed? It wasn't Dead by Daylight. I did a lot of Dead by Daylight for a while though. Oh my god. It was a bit of everything, I think. Like I was such a variety streamer back then. And these are like my kind of like my break days, because now I primarily do RPGs. But like, back then when I first started streaming, what you do for anybody that wants to start streaming and they're afraid that no one's going to be in chat. If you have a friend that does stream or is familiar with stream culture, ask them to sit in your stream. Just ask them. Just ask friends who are also streamers to do it. I'm glad I didn't watch Dead by Daylight. Just ask someone. Just ask anybody in your friend group to do it. And if they're really your friends, they will do it. Even if you have nothing to talk about. Because what they'll do, if they are familiar with streaming culture, is they will help you try to, like, they'll try to, like, help train you to be more comfortable talking. Because that's the number one thing you kind of need to practice, ultimately, when it comes to streaming. Hello. You're glad you didn't watch the Dead by Daylight streams? Why? Why are you glad you didn't watch those streams? Ultimately, your goal when it comes to starting to learn how to stream is learning how to talk to nothing, because you're going to have a lot more instances where there's nobody in the stream. And I speak from experience. Like, there are days where no one's in stream and no one's talking, and you sit there going like, oh dear Lord, I have no idea what to talk about right now. And like, you just have to be comfortable with the silence. You honestly do. What's happening? We're coloring in this Digital Circus illustration made by Fiercest Bard. And this is what it looks like. I'm not sure how that's supposed to be. I know I have to ask Bard that question. But yeah, we are working together with Fiercest Bard to color this artwork for him, so then he can kind of streamline his artwork, because we're making a poster for our artist alley, and he decided that he wanted to draw all the characters under the sun. Welcome back, Megatron. Really appreciate you coming back. And yeah, like, and we're discussing kind of like content creation and being like whether or not people like should start and how to start, basically. But yeah, like, I have a lot more streams that nobody's talking in, regardless of if it's on Twitch or if it's on YouTube or if it's like vertical streaming. Like, I have had days where I have a dead chat. What do you do, right? And that's tricky, right? Like, I feel that a lot of people, it's uncomfortable, right? Because you're sitting there going like, oh, that means no one likes my things. No, there are lurkers. There are people who just don't like talking, and it's not because like you're a bad content creator, right? You need to be comfortable in your own silence, or comfortable with your own voice, if that makes sense, right? If you're not comfortable with any of that, then streaming might not be something for you. I was eating my tea. Eating your tea? I think you need to boil that, Megatron. I think you shouldn't be eating the tea leaves. I feel awkward when no one talks. Yeah, it's real. Thank you for the pat. I really appreciate it. It's really awkward when no one talks. Thank you for encouraging words. I try talking to an audience. I just hope I can attract the right audience. I hope, I love having an audience that's safe space, especially for girls like me. Yeah, indeed, true. And sometimes you don't know what to say. Exactly. So there are a lot of tips that some people have when it comes to having a dead chat. Basically, there are some ways that people can solve it. Do you like singing? Sing while you're drawing. You can hum a little song. Sometimes it helps. Like, it helps breaks up the silence. Things that I would do is I go on a rant. Is there something that pissed you off that day? Talk about how it pissed you off, and you're guys going like, oh my god, that what's something that would make me mad? Okay, let's get a song chat. What's something that would make me mad? Gosh. I shouldn't tell you guys what makes me mad, because then you guys are just gonna make me use it against me, right? Yeah, I just gotta start singing like Country Roads, right? Take me home. I actually forgot the lyrics of Country Road. I'm being serious. I didn't like tomatoes in my soup today. Yeah, I could be like, oh man, this guy, I asked, I'm allergic to tomatoes, and I told them to take tomatoes off of my sandwich, but they put it in my sandwich, right? Like, you know, it could be like talking about how your frustrations with like, I hate going to the bank. That's one thing that I can talk about. I hate going to the bank. Everything that possibly could go wrong for me happens at the bank, right? And once I try to cancel a card, and they wouldn't let me cancel the card because they're like, you have to go call it in. And I'm like, why do I have to call when I can just cancel it here, right? You know what I mean? Like, you know, that's how you kind of have like your conversations, and you get people who are going like, oh yeah, shit, I hate the bank, you know, or I hate the DMV, you know. But yeah, or you get people singing in chat. I don't know what is next. I know, right? Oh man, you guys are gonna make me have to look up like the lyrics to Country Road. I like that. Like that song was played a lot in like Whisper of the Heart, I think. Yeah, you know, West Virginia, Mount something. Take me home, a country road. And I probably still sang that song wrong. But yeah, you just find like what some other streamers have said is what you could do is you can write a list of topics, like lists of topics for you to kind of like just ramble about. The most important thing for streaming is not necessarily like you have to have something to talk about. It has to just be engaging, right? So, but there are also streamers who don't talk at all, right? And what's engaging about their content is how well they do stuff, right? I find that there are different types of like streamers that people generally watch. It could be that one, they're really talented, so you want to see how they do it, right? You want to learn their trips, you want to learn their tricks. There are people who are just really chatty. Me, I'm really chatty. And then there are people who like, so it's basically you either be skilled, it's really skilled, or chatty, all right? And those are the people who typically do the best, typically. Now, if you don't worry about either of it, right? Maybe you're not the most talented, maybe you don't have to be the most talented, but you have to be somewhat talented for like, you know, like kind of like even for gamers, right? Like if you are a first-person shooter streamer, if you don't talk and you are terrible at games, you're not going to get that much traction. But if you are a terrible shot and you're chatty and you're kind of making jokes at yourself and you're being engaging, you're being really entertaining, people are going to watch you even if you're really shitty at the game. I should know, that's me. I'm really bad at playing first-person shooter. But it could even be like, you have to be, it's like one of those things where you have to be able to open yourself up, regardless of how you get there, right? Oh shoot, I need to make sure this is down. Yeah. Yeah, I know, blow me away, right? Yeah. Why did the ocean break up with the pond? It needed more space. Damn. Ooh woo, ooh woo, ooh woo. I like stream where the stream is doing something. Yeah, like you need to have like something going on, right? And I think like whether or not it's like, say maybe you're having a deep philosophical conversation about how of course you would be like, how you would definitely be the best, what was it? Like you should be on the cast list for the next Avengers movie, or like if you like it's at the end of the day, you want to have a conversation, right? And a conversation only works if you can keep it going, if that makes sense. But unfortunately, the aspect of having conversation, especially when there's no chat, is that you have to talk to yourself a lot. I don't know how you prove your FPS skills. You prove it by doing a lot of headshots, right? Or you win a lot of games. And people, because like, again, typically when people go for like those games, like for example, like a very good example of someone who's really good at being entertaining but also is really skilled at games, just games in general, would be like Doki Bird. Doki Bird's a really good example. She's very charismatic, but even if you took away her charismatic elements of her character, she's very good at gaming. So that's why a lot of people watch her streams, right? There's also like Kaname from the JP side of her old company, Shifty Eyes, who's also very well known for his FPS skills and actually has a larger male fan base as a result, despite being a male VTuber. Because I feel a lot of people think that, oh, if I'm a guy VTuber, no one's gonna watch my shit. You're wrong. There are a lot of guys who will watch your shit. You know, you just have to have something to pull in your audience at the end of the day. You know, I like bread. You can literally be a streamer who just makes sandwiches. That's all you do. And, you know, you could be making the wackiest sandwiches, or you could, like, you just have to make something that, like, makes people want to be like, damn, this guy is really fun to watch, or this girl's really fun to watch, or, man, I'm gonna learn something, or I'm gonna have a really fun time here, right? Because that's what streaming's all about. It's like having fun somewhere. I can speak from experience. I had a full conversation about bread. It was fun. Yeah. Like, fun fact, final joke. What kind of card does a mushroom drop? A sports card. Damn. Damn, Souls, you're just dropping the jokes. Just dropping the dad jokes. But yeah, like, but also my final piece of advice when it comes to streaming, don't stress about it. I'm saying all these things. At the end of the day, the more you stress about streaming and wanting to stream, you're not going to stream. You find this a lot with, like, a lot of, and this is not to call out anyone in particular. You find this out a lot about, a lot of streamers who are kind of like, oh, I need to make sure this is perfect. I need to make sure that's perfect. I need to make sure I do all these things before I start streaming. That is probably the least efficient way to start streaming. Because if you're always going to be worried about streaming or what's, like, you know, then you might be too, in my opinion, as someone who is very anxious, and I see this reflected in my own kind of habits, my own personal habits, is, I'm so anxious that I don't audition for voice acting projects. So this is kind of like personal, right? I can easily audition for a bunch of different, and I bookmark a bunch of different roles I'm interested in, and I can possibly do, but I never submit an audition. How can I say that I want to be a voice actress, but I don't actually audition, right? People aren't just going to approach me and be like, hey, Munii, can you do this role, right? Obviously, unless they're my friend and they know that I like voice acting. You need to be willing to make mistakes. You need to be willing to put yourself out there. And maybe it's not going to be your best work, but your goal is ultimately to just make people be aware of your existence, right? And that's the most important part of kind of starting out, right? You need to start. And once you start moving, you can make it better later, right? There's definitely the definition of like, hey, it's not perfect right now and right here, but I'll make it better in the future. And your goal should be to be, okay, I'm starting and it may not be the best, but I know that I will make it better and I will improve. Because it can be improvements in either the quality of your stream, it can be improvements in the way you stream, it could be the improvements in a variety of things. But the most important thing for anybody to do for streaming is just to start. I didn't know if this is normal, but most streamers are nice people you'll ever meet. Sorry, why did I say you never meet? You ever meet. I should say that. You should go out there. Fear is mind killer. Yeah. Exactly, yeah. Like, again, plus you're funny, so that helps. Yeah, like it helps if you're able to it helps if you don't take things too seriously, right? In a sense, right? I think once look at it like this, like if you start streaming and you're kind of like, my goal is to make money and my goal is to be like the next Pokimane, we'll just say, right? You're setting yourself up for failure. It's not to say that you will never become the next Pokimane, but you're chasing after something that somebody has already, well, first of all, done. And also, you're not doing it because you genuinely enjoy it. You're doing it because you're looking at streaming as, oh, this is an easy way to make money. Meanwhile, you don't know how many trials and errors that like each content creator who is arguably very big has made. A lot of them have made mistakes regardless if people acknowledge it or not. And some of them have learned from their mistakes and some of them haven't. But that being said, they're big for a reason, and it's because they were willing to put in the work and the effort to get better, whether it's in the quality of their stream, whether it's in the people that they bring onto their team, because sometimes it is a whole production to do a stream, depending on what the kind of stream it is, right? But you don't need all the bells and whistles. The most important thing is that, hey, people need to know that you're existent. They need to know that you are somebody to watch, that you are you may not be the next PewDiePie, but hey, like maybe you're a really like a up and coming streamer. That's too pink. I want it more, maybe more here, because that's the highlight of her hair. But yeah, always start, because like that's too dark now. Where's the medium? Oh shoot. But yeah, I think it's true. Luck, effort, and luck is needed. Indeed, also enjoy wonderful snow. Yeah, the wonderful snow. No, I understand you meant show. Like, I'm very lucky. Again, I say this as someone with an element of privilege. Wait, do you do commissions? Technically, yes. We actually do take commissions. If you look, I probably didn't link it here. Let me find our VGen. So again, I work in an art collective with my partner, Bard Fadamu. I like to call him. Let me type in the chat somewhere. Where am I? Is it here? Is it here? It would be in the other chat. Okay, let me go to the other chat. One sec. I should really like link it. I don't. Let me see. We are VGen. We are on VGen under Cappy We are verified too, because we got the verified status here. I was wondering. There we go. That's our commission page. There we go. Coolness. I have always wondered, do you have a VR headset on the display model? No. So what I use is an iPhone. So the iPhone tracks your face. And it has a pretty good camera. And then the camera then goes over to a program called VTube Studio. So my phone is basically transmitting to VTube Studio to be like, hey, her face is doing this, like almost like a webcam. And then the movements, I rigged it to animate based on certain actions that I do with my face. So for example, if I wink, if I open my mouth really wide, if I want to do other expressions, then I have to press buttons, right? And this is my problem, because I have a lot of expressions that I don't use. Like this. Anguish. Oh look, certain people want to stream full time. Like, I'm good luck and hopefully have fun. Enjoy it, yeah. But in terms of commissions, yeah, we take commissions over on VGen. Yeah, maybe you shouldn't aim to become a big thing, but you will never know how far you go unless you try. Exactly, right? I look at streaming like this. Do streaming because you actually have fun with it. Don't start streaming as a means to make an income, because you set up yourself for failure. Never set yourself up for failure. Set yourself with mini goals, right? Going like, I want to reach, maybe it'd be something as simple as like, I want to be able to even numbers, avoid numbers. There's a reason why people say turn off viewers. Like, turn off the viewer count, because you set yourself up for failure. What I would recommend is doing stuff like, set yourself like with goals like, I want to stream twice a week. Like something that's achievable on your side. Or I want to finish this painting. Or I want to do XYZ. And that's a great way to start streaming. Like, don't think of numbers. Never think of numbers. And then when you get to a point where you kind of feel you're shy, then you can be like, okay, now I'm going to start thinking about numbers of like, I want to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2026, right? Like that's technically one of my goals, right? Or it doesn't have to necessarily be on YouTube. I'd be like, okay, like maybe I want to hit 1,000 subscribers on Twitch, or not subscribers. That's very different. Followers on Twitch, right? Like I want to hit 1,000 somewhere, right? I want to hit that. Okay, now we can look at analytics. We can look at like stuff like, okay, what are the things that I am doing right that will help me build my momentum in order to achieve that, right? That's where you can be a little bit more critical. But first, just start liking streaming is kind of like how I kind of view it. Streaming is for fun, right? Yeah, exactly, right? Like, I have had a friend, actually, who was like, hey, I'm thinking about streaming. Should I do it? And my first response to her, because, like, she wanted to do it as a side hustle, and I told her, don't do it.
Drink water, you dehydrated bitch!
I told her not to do it, because it's not because I don't think she would be fun. It's not because it wouldn't help her. It's because she was going into it for the wrong reasons. And that was also another reason why someone actually told me not to stream. Because she was worried, because another friend of mine was worried that I wanted to do this as a ways of an income, right? When in reality, what I wanted to do with streaming was, originally at least, is like I wanted to, well, the first time I wanted to learn how to stream and do it, it was to stay connected with my friends and family back home, but I never actually did it because I was scared, and also I was on a laptop, and this is not to say you can't stream on a laptop, it's just more difficult, right? And then eventually I was asking another friend who does streaming, going like, hey, I kind of was thinking about streaming, like, what do you think? Because you've been doing streaming for a long time. And she's like, don't do it if you want to get make money, because she doesn't make any money on there either. And I was like, fair enough. And then I didn't stream. And then I saw a HoloLive ad for looking for virtual singers. And I foolishly thought that I could get in. Oh, how wrong I was. And then, but it didn't deter me from trying to learn how to stream later. So you can arguably say that that HoloLive inspired me to actually start streaming as a result, because in order to, well, at the time the goal was to eventually join HoloLive. Nowadays it's more so because I just love doing it. I just love being able to talk to people. I have had a incredible experience and opportunities meeting people around the world that I would have never ever have met. I've had friends who are so close to me, right? And again, I've met my hopefully life partner through streaming, right? So even if I were to quit tomorrow, I'm not quitting tomorrow. I will put that out there. I'm not quitting tomorrow. I've gotten a lot out of streaming, and my experience has been extremely positive, you know. Good is make the you make it look good. Yeah, like, you know, there's a lot of negative aspects to streaming, but there's also a lot of great sides to streaming, and you just gotta love it enough to really stick with it. If you don't love it, this is not the hobby for you. This is not the space for you. And it's not because you're not an entertaining person. It's not because you are bad at the thing. It's 100%. It's just like, you gotta do it because you love it. If you're doing it because like it's a means, like you look at the streamers that are kind of big right now, and you kind of have to sit there and wonder if they're actually happy with the content that they're making. Yeah, like you kind of sometimes wonder about some of the people who, when they make content, especially the bigger ones, that don't look happy anymore. Like, you know, like it's specifically that, do they look happy versus when they first start streaming? And you do start to wonder from a human perspective, are they creating content that they genuinely love anymore? Because sometimes people, you're kind of stuck because you have to make money at the end of the day. You do. You have to pay bills. And when you dedicate like a lot to streaming, to the point where you have to sacrifice a lot of things, because you do have to sacrifice a lot of things in order to pursue this career, does it ultimately make you happy, right? Yeah, and it's the same for any job, honestly, right? The most time you're going to spend is going to be for any job, right? You're going to spend most of your time at work. Now, if streaming is your career, you count 100% on the people's generosity to donate to you, or even like the ads or stuff like that, right? That means you have to a certain extent, like, you know, back in the day, they used to call it sellout. You're like, oh my god, they're such a fucking sellout because, like, they took an ad? What? Gotta do it to put bread on the table, you know? That nice sourdough bread isn't gonna just pay for itself, you know? But you also have to think about, like, what's the long-term aspect of it, right? Because a lot of the bigger content creators nowadays, or at least but from when I was small and when YouTube was just a small platform, so many of the content creators that were kind of like the OGs, they're in their 40s now. And excuse me. And some of them have quit. Some of them have quit YouTube because, like, they can't do this forever, right? You know what I mean? Like, you look at like content creators like one of the OG, right? One of the OG biggest YouTubers out there, Higa, right? He stopped doing YouTube skits for a reason, right? It just for a variety of reasons, I should say, but like, you know, like one of them, I think like he wasn't just passionate about it anymore. There's also some scandals that happened that he didn't necessarily commit, but like, you know, who he was associated with, you know, it's like the love of the game kind of just faded out, I think, for him. But now he's just streaming because, you know, it's still content creation at the end of the day, but it's very different from what you used to watch him for. I get kind of crucified if I don't like big streamers. I think they're all a bit too boring. I mean, it depends, right? The nice thing about smaller streamers, like what you're experiencing right now, for example, I'm able to talk to you guys. I'm able to have this conversation right with you right here immediately, right? But if you were to go to, say, anybody in like the large corpos, we'll just say, for example, I'm thinking Narissa right now. Narissa Ravencroft from Hololive. Getting her to see your message is like almost feels like a 1 in a million chance because there's so many people talking to her at the same time. And this is just on this is just on one stream. Like, this is not even with her multi-streaming to like multiple different people and like having this conversation. This is just like, oh my god, there's like so much going on, right? And it's not that she's not an entertaining VTuber. It's not that she doesn't care about any of her viewers, but it's hard to feel seen. And if that's the type of person and type of viewer you like being a viewer that is seen, that is talked to, you're not going to enjoy your streams that much because you're not going to have the same interaction. Now, if you are a type of person who loves being in a group of people, having conversation about what's going on, and like chatting with other chatters, then you're gonna like the bigger streamers. If that makes sense, yeah. Right, PewDiePie, there's Markiplier from the OG, yeah. And hello, Carolina, how are you? But yeah, like, it really comes down to the heart of this, right? Small streamers are great because you can have that immediate interaction. I'm going to immediately see that you're saying hello, right? For example. But for a larger creator, they can't do that for every single person because it loses their train of thought, admittedly. Like, you see me sometimes, I'm like, oh my god, there's all these different conversations going on. What am I doing, right? But eventually I kind of get a foothold of like where the conversation is going or the conversation that I want to talk about. Now, does this mean that there is never a possibility that a message is going to be ignored? there will be times where messages are going to be ignored, and it could be for a variety of reasons. Like the streamer has a choice, right? But since when it comes to direct interaction, I do find smaller streamers are probably the better ones to go to. It doesn't mean that the big streamers are boring at all. They just have a different type of niche that you're looking for if you want to go for a big streamer. They can still be engaging. They can still be fun. You know, I've gotten like my feelings whenever a bigger streamer reads my message on stream. I'm like, oh my god, I was noticed. Like, that's legitimately me. But when it comes to a smaller streamer, well, I don't get the heart flutteries of like kind of like, oh my god, I got noticed by senpai. Like I do get the, oh yeah, this person genuinely cares that I'm here having this conversation. And I think if that's what you're looking more for in your content creators, that's definitely makes sense why you go to smaller people versus going to larger creators. That being said, larger creators are big for a reason. It's because they have found a method to entertain a larger masses. That doesn't require them to talk to every single individual person, and people go there for that reason. That's why you have people like who are maybe cracked at playing video games. That's why you have people who are amazing artists. Maybe like they don't talk to every single person, but you know, like the community is able to kind of like talk amongst themselves while the creator is working on something or focusing on something, and that's completely fine. Everyone has a reason to watch other people's contents, but yeah, like the landscape of like a lot of content creators, like going back to the original content the topic of like do your OGs still love doing streaming or content creation? For a lot of them, the answer might be no. They might still be doing this because it's like a check at the end of the day, and there's nothing wrong with that, honestly, because at the end of because like they should be they need to pay for stuff, right? Unfortunately, their lifestyle may not pay for themselves. Like, now, then again, there's also like some content creators where I'm just kind of like, please retire, please stop doing your thing. You have made your millions. And that is the one where he has scammed children. I don't like that content creator. Actually, there's many content creators that probably scam children. I shouldn't say that. But like, you know, there are certain content creators where I'm just like, you know, like I'm not a huge fan of the fact that, you know, that they've made like a income out of like scamming children essentially to buy their merch. And if it wasn't their merch, then it was these other things like AI related stuff. And then his brother eventually got his face punched in because they fucked around and found out. But you know, I digress. Let's see what you mean. You know, like honestly, okay, if we're gonna like, you know, side tangent talk about that, like, you know, one of the brothers got their face punched. Should have gone to WWE. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not a huge fan of like those two, the P brothers, I would say. But like I think the younger brother should have gone to WWE. I don't think he should have done boxing matches. He was definitely trying to ride the whole, like, because his brother did the whole started the whole trend of YouTubers boxing each other, and then he stayed too long, and now he broke a jaw. So what you gonna do, right? But if you went to WWE, like, I don't know, me and Bart talked about it. I'm not a fan of it might surprise people, maybe not. I'm not a fan of wrestling, but I was kind of like, why didn't he do this one that's more performative, where they have to make stories? Well, I guess because then he would have to follow what other people say, as opposed to, like, what he would want to do. And then there's also the risk that he would get a storyline that he doesn't necessarily like. But that's my thought. I don't think there's anything wrong with not liking Mr. Hey Kids Wanna Buy Garbage. Hey kids, you wanna farm AI for me? I don't know, that whole thing. As you can probably tell, like, okay, and when it comes to AI stuff, when it comes to generating stuff, I'm not a huge fan of it because, like, look, if you're gonna use AI, I'm kind of like, whatever, because I can't tell you not to do... Shit, it's the wrong one. I can't tell you guys to do whatever, right? Obviously. And I can't tell you guys to do, to, try to pay artists instead of, like, generating stuff, or don't steal from artists, I should say, should be the proper thing. I will say this, like, you know, AI does have its uses. I'm never going to, like, take that away from people who can use it for good. But I am going to say that if you're using it to be like, see, this is so much better than... Like, this is so much better than the original. I feel kind of weird about that because you're still technically using the original in order to make the thing. You know what I mean? Like, AI doesn't make things out of nowhere. It makes things because there is a basis for it, if that makes sense. I'm also not a huge fan of people using it to exploit women and children. I feel that that is a huge trend that's happening a lot on certain site that we're all kind of forced to use, not really forced, but like used for algorithmic reasons. But like, you know, I'm not a huge fan of that. Now, if you are a spicy content creator and you're using it, by all means, get your bag. But for people using it on people who are not consenting, that's where I kind of like, that's kind of drawing a line a little bit. You know what I mean? I think you need to scam a kid to get popular is a problem. Yeah. If we go back to the original topic, yeah, if you are scamming children, that's probably, you probably shouldn't be part of the internet as much anymore or as relevant, but unfortunately that's not how it works. Like, people are still gonna watch his content because, and pay attention to him because, well, we know who it is. You know? People are gonna keep an eye on him for, like, the latest drama anyways, right? I'll also get a lot of people asking me, are you a streamer? I'm not a streamer. A lot are asked to commission with this weird. Right? Like, yeah, those robo scams, right? Yeah. I'm trying to be very good about the bots in my channel, like if there's any like bots and stuff like that. You mean you have a theory about that? What's your theory? What is your theory? What is your game theory? But yeah. I'm sorry if I'm like chatting way too much and I'm not coloring as fast as I should be. But I just have a lot to talk about apparently. I'm very passionate. Very passionate about stuff apparently today. Yes, robot scams. Yes. Oh. Well, I guess I'll mention this later. I generally don't think about that sound. We're gonna shovel snow. Stay safe shoveling the snow. Ah, shit. I think it has to start like this, like, it's cool, chatting rules. What don't you think about the gunshot sound? I'm a little confused by that statement. God, my brain. Where was I? Oh gosh. God, like this is what happens when I have like a lost of chain of thought, when I like don't draw or color as fast as I think I should be. I mean, I don't have to finish it like today. There are some questions I have. So far it's looking pretty good though. Let's see. But yeah, like, when it comes to generating AI, like, there was like a video. Oh, that's so... Well, I guess her eye isn't pure white, right? What color's your bow? Should match her dress. Okay. Right? Or is it her... No, it should match the patches. Maybe? No. It's hard, because, like, the lighting, right? Maybe it's the dark patches? We'll do the dark patches, then. Here we go. Okay. So in all seriousness, I don't think a good chunk of people who do the whole undressing on Twitter are real, like the joke about Twitter being full of bots, but I see where you're coming from. Like based on how massive some illegal bots farms are, we're talking about 45 million bots per farm. No, what are you talking about? They're all real users. I'm just kidding. Do you remember when people were like, oh, you should buy the verified Twitter and you definitely won't have... Those are, like, definitely not bots. Remember that whole thing? That's just me. But yeah. I kind of agree with you. I don't think all of them are inherently, like, real people. I do think enough of them are real people, and that's the concerning part. Bots are just pests, yeah. Like, the thing is that, like, the ones that are doing it, like, the sexy models doing it, I think that those are probably bots, because, yeah. But, like, I think there are, unfortunately, some people out there that do it, because what's the point of the bots doing that, the more, doing some of them if there wasn't a source for them to learn it from, or, you know what I mean? Like, there's always a reason for something. There's a very real possibility. There's also a good chunk of them are just, like, thank God with just 40 accounts, more like 50, yeah. I can see, like, you know, like, somebody, like, programming a system in which they do it, but my main thing is, like, kind of like, you kind of look at it going like, but then there has to be someone behind it also, like, programming something who go from, like, go after 100 most popular posts, yeah. Like, there's some control aspect to it, right? Because a computer doesn't automatically do something without a command, right? So knowing that there's someone who commanded it is, I think, the problem for me, ultimately. You know what I mean? And this is not to say that, like, people haven't been doing shit like this since the beginning of time, in terms of, like, people doing questionable things with images, or certain images. It has happened. It's a very long time, right? But it's Grok, or a certain program rather, has made it just significantly easier, and that is, I think, the issue that I think a lot of people take. Yeah. Add trolls who honestly don't care about the pure problem. Yeah, I'm back once again. Welcome back, Rex Dragon. But yeah, like, it's a problem, and I think the problem is that some people, because of the lack of care and people just letting it happen, that's my issue that I take with with AI stuff, right? Again, it's not to say I think all AI is bad. I think there's some uses that AI can do that is very helpful. Like, for example, if there's AI that can help make certain surgeries way more if there were way more if there was AI generate AIs to help with certain things like surgeries, then I think that would be helpful. Oh, sorry, I just need to take a quick call. Be right back. Sorry about that. I had a phone call because I have to get my fan fixed, my stove fan fixed. That actually might mean that I have to end off the stream right here, actually. Because unfortunately, like, this was going to be a shorter stream. I always knew this was going to be a shorter stream, but I wasn't expecting him. I was expecting him actually to come around 1:30, to be honest. But like, he's early, so I had to end off stream. But yeah, thank you everybody. Like, let me just catch up on chat a little bit. Let's go over here. Oh, not here. Not there. Not there. Not there. Not there. Here. And going over to... Where's the just chatting screen? Over here. Yeah. Give me. Okay, everybody. Yeah, we had a lot to talk about today, didn't we? But anyways, let's chat with chat. I have joined the stream, only say hi, and was called a troll. Dang. Yeah, hello, and I was muted for like 24 hours. I'm talking about Twitter trolls, but honestly, I think I was one confused. Yeah. AI helping with surgery. I mean, it could be revolutionary if you give it everyday medical data from the past to today, but you can't always rely on it. You still need a human to keep an eye on things in case AI goes fritz. Yeah, that's 100% true. Yeah, save the fan. It was fast but comfy. Yeah. Yeah, like, when it comes to AI, okay, let's focus on AI. Let's say, if AI was more streamlined to help people, I'm okay with that. Not in terms of replacing people. I'm not a fan of AI replacing people, but in terms of, like, say, medical uses, I'm a little bit more on that side, because I understand that, like, yes, you're taking away some quote-unquote jobs from surgeons by streamlining some of the surgical process. However, we also know that surgeons are also overworked. Sometimes there's not many available. So if we can, like, take away, like, the ones that don't require as much, if it's not as delicate, like, all surgery is major, right? But, like, if we could just, like, make certain things easier for people, that I'm a fan of. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a fan of people using generative AI, because essentially it's being trained on people's artwork, whether it's their voice, whether it's their illustration skills, whether it's, like, other things, right? To reproduce art, because that's not what art is about, right? It's not about the reproduction and making things cheaper, right? It's about the process and stuff like that, if that makes sense. Is my model a cat? No, my model's a space bounty hunter. the thing down there, like, but, like, if there's an occasion, if you can see, like, a little thing my screen. Not right now if you're on the vertical stream, but if you're on my horizontal stream, you'll see that there is, you probably noticed that there was a dog. Well, it looks like a cat, but... yeah, I like to say I'm a space bounty hunter from the stars. But yeah, in terms of being seen as an AI person, or chatter, like, I think I get it from the streamer perspective. I think because there's a lot of trolls that like just say hi and then they leave, and that's always kind of sad. When people are so dismissive, I guess, because I like to think that even if not every chatter stays past a hi, I like to think that, you know, there's potentially a new friend to be made after every chatter. So, like, you know, that's what I like saying, like, hi to everybody. I like acknowledging people, because people like being acknowledged, I think, at the end of the day. Like, even if you don't stay for too long, even if you only stay for a couple seconds, like, you know, I like to make sure you guys feel welcomed. Space bounty hunting is illegal. I guess this is why I gotta leave. No, this isn't too much revealing stuff, but like I cook a lot, and unfortunately the hood exhaust above my stove, it broke the other day, so we gotta get that fixed. And we don't know if it's like a major issue or if it's like a really small thing, so we're getting that fixed. We're getting the technician to come in today to be all like, yeah, you just gotta do this, or you gotta replace with a $900 motor. I'm hoping it's not expensive. I'm hoping it's not a big job. I'm hoping it's just like, oh, the wiring came off. Yeah, here's how you fix it. But if not, then fuck, right? Like, I hope this streaming thing, the streaming thing, eventually can pay for it. I'm Cybertron Tyrant. I have committed war crimes. I am Megatron. I am Megatron. Some surgeons got tired depending on how long the surgery is. If it's how quick the surgery to make it less time-consuming and helpful for the surgeon and helps the surgery, less exhausting, save more patients. Yeah, it's all about saving the patients. I'm calling the Galaxy Police. No, don't call the Po. I'm still here. I'm calling the Universal Police. No, don't call the police. But anyways, I hope that everyone had a fun time today. I'm sorry for the short stream. Tomorrow we are going to go back to playing some Yak of the Zuz. Number 5, we're playing as our favorite criminal, Taiga Saijima. We are going to beat up some guys. I'm going to be so cool. I'm not sure if I'm going to escape from jail this time. I might walk out normally. And we'll see how his story comes out. Like, I'm not a huge fan of him still, but, you know, there's hope. There's hope in Yakuza 5, you know? What will the police do? I have a big gun arm. No. Don't transform into the gun. But anyways, thank you everyone for dropping by. I hope you all have a good day, a good morning, or a good afternoon. And I will see you tomorrow around 10 a.m. My time. Yeah. Same time tomorrow. Okay, anyways. Bye-bye, everybody. Why is there so many criminals on the street? Because being a criminal is fun! Ah! Bye-bye.